Alright, today we're going to be working on a Game Gear project. Now, for those of you in the know, the Game Gear is a battery demolishing beast. Now, I'm actually using 6 rechargeable AA's, which is actually a pretty good solution. These have 2300 milliamp hours, and while I don't have specific statistics to relate to you about the battery life, I think we can do better. Now, this device fits on the back of your Game Gear, and it plugs in to the external power source, and it uses this rechargeable battery. Now, this being a 20-year-old rechargeable battery, it no longer works. So what we're going to be doing is breathing a little bit of new life into the Game Gear Powerback. So, the mission for today is to take this new DTX C2 192 7.2 1600 milliamp hour nickel metal hydride rechargeable battery and putting it inside the Powerback to bring this thing back to life. And then I will have maximum power options for my Game Gear, so I can play it at my job in between calls like Sega intended. I mean, this is the perfect device to waste time at your shitty call center job. So let's go ahead and dive into this project.
Okay, so getting into the Powerback is a very simple process. There are 2 Phillips screws on the back. Simply unscrew those and pry the back piece off. The battery disconnects from the circuit board very easily. There's a little connector, just pop that out. Cut the wire off of the old battery as close to the battery as you can. Cut the connector off of the new battery as close to the connector as you can. And strip your wires. Slide some heat shrink tubing around your wires now. I used a pair of helping hands to help me tin the wires. Now solder the wires together. I used a heat gun to shrink the heat shrink tubing, which I found it looked a lot more even and was a little more aesthetically pleasing compared to the past when I used something like a Bic lighter to heat the heat shrink tubing. Plug your new battery back in to the circuit board. Make sure your polarity is correct. I also happen to have some very high bond tape that I used for something else earlier, so I have some extra lying around, and I used that to secure the battery to the Powerback. You could also use something like hot glue or something along those lines. Now slap the back piece back onto the Sega Powerback and screw those 2 screws back into place.
Alright, now it's the moment of truth. We've got this thing sitting here charging. I don't know if you can see the orange light from here. I'm blinded by my lights, so I can't see in my teeny little preview screen. But it's been charging for a little bit, so I'm going to unplug. Here's a Game Gear with no batteries in it. So here we go. There we go. I don't know how well you can see anything. It's hard to look at a Game Gear screen on the best of days, but you can hear the music at least. Again, I can't see in my tiny little preview screen what's going on, how much of that's glare. But the battery back works. So it looks like we've repaired our Game Gear. I'm not sure if you can use this with the AA's in at the same time. I'm pretty sure that the Powerback will supply the power first, and then when it dies, it should kick over to the AA's. I'm going to have to do a little bit of research. I'm not a Game Gear expert, but assuming that's the case, we have just maximized the amount of portable playtime we can have on a Game Gear, which is pretty sweet.